Welcome back to my channel. Now we all know about the place values to the left of the ones place, but what about the place values to the right of the ones place? Looks like we got some more investigating to do.
It's like every day.
So here's your usual place values that you usually learn at school first. So you have your ones or units, tens, hundreds, going to the left, and they go in periods up to millions and beyond. But what happens after the ones place to the right? Are there any numbers after that? Yes, there are. So what happens then? So after the ones place to the right, you are going below the number one. So if you're going below the number one, then it becomes pieces or fractions. So then it gets separated, and then you have what we call tenths, then you have hundredths, then you have thousandths. All right, but where do we separate? What do we put in between the separation of the ones, tens, hundreds going to the left and then the place values going to the right? We separate them with a decimal place. So now after that decimal, you know now that the numbers after that, or the place values after that, are now pieces or less than one. So the 10th place, what this means is that you have 1/10. So it becomes a fraction. So the 10th place is 1/10. But then when you go on, you have the 100th place, and that will be represented as 1/100. So it becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. But what happens after the 1000th place? Usually when we're doing worksheets or we're given work, it doesn't really go beyond that third decimal place. So after that, you have the 10,000th place. And we have this THS at the end because you're letting them know that it's smaller parts. The parts are very much smaller than the left side of the place value chart. So then what's after 10,000th? After 10,000th place, you have the 100,000th place. And then you have the millionth place, and so on and so on. So sometimes when you put a division into the calculator and you see numbers that go on and on and on forever, they do actually have place values. So then what happens is, as you're going to the right, they are being divided by 1/10. So a 10th divided by 1/10 is thousandths, and then the 100th, and then 100th divided by 1/10 is 1,000th. The 1,000th divided by 1/10 is 10,000th, and so on. So these parts are being broken down, right? Dividing by 1/10 each time you go along to the right. So if you were given a worksheet like this, for instance, and the instruction was to identify the place value of the underlined digit. So sometimes they would give you questions like this where you have the decimal, and then on the left side of the decimal you have your normal ones, tens, hundreds, and so on. But then after the decimal, this is where the test would be for the student to determine if they would know the place value. So let's take, for instance, the first one. So you have ones, tens, hundreds. So you would write this as 600ths or 600. Right? That would be the answer for that one. Now, if you are going beyond, I'm going to be jumping some of these questions. So say, for instance, question 5, you have 92.368. What is the value of this underlined digit? So after the decimal place, you would have to remember you have your 10th place, which is the first position after the decimal. Your 100th place is the second position after the decimal. And then the third place value after the decimal is called the 1,000th. So you would write 8 thousandths, right? You can write 8 thousandths, or you can write 0.008 because this is in the third place value after the decimal. Let's try another one. See here, for question 8, you have 270.954. So 270.9, the 9 is underlined and it's the first position after the decimal place. So you would write 9/10 because that's the 10th place value. 9/10 or 0.9 because that's the first place after the decimal. All right, and let's do one more. They also have word problems down here. Let's do the first word problem. Diana measures the dimensions of her kitchen window as she plans to dress them with blinds. Find the place value of the digit 6 if the window is 44.56 inches long. So 44.56 inches, if you locate the 6, you will see that it is the second place after the decimal. So, and what was that? That was the 100th place. All right, so you would put 6/100ths. All right, 6/100ths. You can choose either one of these. 0.06 because it's the second place after the decimal. Here's a great example of decimal place values that we see every day, but we don't really take any notice of it. Price tags, right? So for instance, you're in a cafe and you see the nitro cold brew for $3.75. We say $3.75, but according to the decimal place values, you would say 3 75/100ths, but who talks like that? No one speaks like that, right? So you got the espresso, which is $2.75. So you would say $2.75, but decimal place value is 2 75/100ths. And then at the top there, you see something for 3. Right? What does that mean? 3 what? You know, the decimals never go away. So it's 3.00, but we don't say that either. We just say 3 pounds or $3, right? So the decimals are there all the time. So for individual numbers, if something is dead on, like 27 pounds or $27, we just say 27. We don't say 27.00, right? But just know that place values, decimal place values are there all the time. Tell me what you think about that in the comments below, and did you understand the video? And if you wanted to add to it, please do so. Like, comment and subscribe with the notification bell so you know every time I upload, which is every Wednesday. And I will see you next time in another math video. Thank you for watching. Class dismissed.